Hello. Hello. Pawan, am I audible? Hello. Pawan, are you there? Hello. Pawan. Hello. Pawan, please respond. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just wait few minutes. So student,
Yes, sir.
we will continue. Okay, so let's we start today class. This is your for basic practical lab session, is it not? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So only 20 students are participate this in this session. What about the other?
Sir, they are on meet, waiting for you.
No, I have not find anyone in waiting room.
Sir, in Google Meet.
Why they are joining too late? Since the session is start from 2:10. I think almost 2:20 is going on.
Sir, we have provided your Zoom meeting link. That's why all are searching there. You are.
So I think all the three departments, that means CSC, EC, and electronics. I think your strength is almost
Yes.
above than 90. One by one, they are still joining, so I will not start the session. Okay. So let's start. So are you familiar with the basic instruction of the in lab? What we have to follow in the lab?
No, sir.
You have not performed any lab in the 12th session?
No, sir.
I think this is the basic electrical labs. Okay. So we will start from the some basic instruction what you will follow, and you will come at the physically in the lab. Okay. So first of all, just try to follow that one, and then we will start the experiment which we will cover in the basic electrical lab. Okay. So just we try to highlight. Okay. So instruction to a student about the regarding any lab. That means maybe you find some general instruction for any lab, and you will physically come in the laboratory. You will follow all these point one by one. Okay. So just these are the some basic point whenever you will come at the laboratory. Okay, that means you follow all these basic condition. That means identity card and class notes, lab observation book, lab manual, and lab record. There are still some in waiting room. Okay, so it is necessary to study and know about all the regulation to be maintained in any particular lab when you physically visit and perform experiment. Okay, some maybe general point and maybe some specific for a specific lab. Okay, so second one, next you may follow that the student must sign in and sign out in the register provided in the laboratory, and all student must follow a dress code if provided, and all bags must be left at the indicated place. The objective of the laboratory is learning. The experiments are designed to isolate the phenomenon in different area of electrical engineering and to expose you to measuring the instrument, that means voltmeter, ammeter, and wattmeter measuring instrument, okay, and conduct the experiment with interest and the attitude of learning. You need to come well prepared for the experiment before the performance. Which experiment you will perform at a particular day, at least you covered at the homework of all the theory portion of that experiment. And without the theory portion, you are not able to perform that particular experiment whenever your schedule in the laboratory. So well prepared of that particular experiment theoretically and maybe some numerical problem practice in your home, and after that whenever you will come, then you are frequently you are able to perform that experiment and observe what is the objective of that experiment. Okay, so these are the some basic instruction about the laboratory. Okay, and next point we concern about this safety precaution. Okay, since this lab is involved, that means power. Okay, so you may be more cautious in the laboratory because that is more harmful if you are carefully touch here and there where the power supply given to any panel. Okay, so you concern about your safety. That means so first point is your, that means in any laboratory you may find out switch mandatory, and do not touch if you do not know about any panel, okay, in the laboratory. Still instructor or your connection may verify or as your experiment objective explain how you can perform that experiment till you are not power supply given on that panel. Okay, otherwise maybe a lot of instrument may be damaged and you may be okay, so this instrument maybe shocked if you are not carefully in the laboratory. Okay, so you should inspect laboratory equipment for the visible damage before using it. That means physically at least you try to inspect the laboratory. If there is a problem with a piece of equipment, any equipment, that means either maybe measuring instrument or maybe kit, that means you want to perform any yeah, so that means if you want to perform any experiment related to motor or transformer. Okay, so before that you may be physically seen of that instrument, motor or maybe transformer. Okay, next one, you may be concerned about the, you should not work on circuit where the supply voltage exists, that means 40 volt or above that from that rating. Okay, till a specific approval from your lab supervisor. If you need to work on such circuit, you should contact your supervisor for approval and instruction on how to do this safety before coming connecting the work. Okay, so till there are some student in waiting room. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are
Yes, sir.
audible.
Someone are saying that voice is not clear. So just tell me if is some issue of the network, or am I clearly audible to all of you? Hello? Tapmai, are you there? हेलो
अनिल कुमार सर बन चुके हैं हमारे.
हेलो
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I was disconnected due to the network issue. Okay. So just try to continue from that point where we discuss. Okay. So am I clearly audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Someone saying that am I not audible? That's why.
Now you are audible, sir.
Okay, fine. Let's continue. Okay. So first of all, when you circuit diagram connection is completed, then you call your supervisor, lab supervisor or technician to verify your connection. Then you are able to supply given to that particular panel. Okay. So from this point, you may be concerned more carefully. Okay. And all about these are the general instruction. From this point, you maybe have the equipment or maybe yourself or your friend surrounding to you. Okay. Until and unless you verify this circuit diagram connection, otherwise it is very harmful for the equipment as well as the for person performing that particular particular experiment. Okay, so re-verify and tour connection with the perfect circuit. So make the connection tight whenever you wire connect from emitter to resistance or resistance to voltmeter. So all the point you must be carefully connect and tightly. Okay, you never try to connect any connection of the loose. So whenever you touch your hand, then that particular point may be disconnected. Okay, so you have to careful about this point. And never strip insulation from the wire with your teeth and knife. Always use an appropriate wire stripping tools. So this is one of the most important instruction for all the person who are performing the experiment. Okay. And with your hand, when you cutting it with a pillar to prevent white wire and flying about the bench. Next, you may find some standard notation in the laboratory, and some standard notation you may find out in your surrounding environment also. Okay, so have you seen this symbol anywhere? So I think you're familiar with that one. Some these are a specific signal. You maybe find out. Okay, in this surrounding area also. So okay, I'm facing a lot of network issue actually. So, are you familiar with the standard notation for this type of signal you may find out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For what, sir?
So,
Not all, sir, but
yeah, tell me.
sir, not all.
Not all. I think up to this point, you may find out this type of a standard notation in surrounding area. Oh, okay. You may find out this type of signal in a railway station also. Is it not? Have you seen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Where the electric power actually available. Okay. So that one. So this type of notation you have to maybe careful in the electrical lab also. Okay. So next, can we start the experiment? So
Yes, sir.
are you able to follow
Yes,
the
sir.
instructions?
Yes,
So I'm not going to lot of instruction about the. This is the general instruction about the safety and precaution. How can you take about your safety in the laboratory? Okay. So experiment number 1 is your study of electrical equipment. Okay. So what are the basic electrical equipment? Have you heard about the name? Basic electrical equipment.
So capacitor, inductor, resistor.
Okay.
So diode, transistor.
Diode, transistor.
Transformer.
Diode, transistor, we are not able to find in the electrical. You will find out that one in electronics lab. Okay. If we are concerned about the electrical, that means maybe particularly that diode and transistor maybe in electronics lab. Okay. So, okay, next one, resistor, inductor, capacitor. Other than that,
Load, sir. Sir, load.
load,
Sir, load, conducting wire,
wire,
Sir, ammeter,
voltmeter,
sir, power supply,
ammeter,
Galvanometer.
galvanometer,
Variable resistance, rheostat.
variable resistance, rheostat, and any other equipment.
Sir, meter bridge.
Meter bridge,
sir, a multimeter,
multimeter, yeah,
Potentiometer, sir.
potentiometer. Any other types? Okay. In load, maybe classified any particular load, electrical load. Can you give me any example of electrical load?
bulb,
Well,
fridge, refrigerator, anything
Heater.
which is conducting.
There are motors, pumps,
motor,
Any
and
electrical
pumps.
appliances.
IT equipment like computers and
TV.
Sir, any computer electrical appliances.
Yeah, any electrical appliances. Okay. So I think you may be familiar with the basic, and this is all about the electrical equipment. Okay. Any particular experiment can be consist of maybe from some of the whatever you have explained or highlight here electrical equipment. Okay. So that equipment we just try to see. Have you seen all these things physically, even other than
Yes, sir.
bulb, tube light, other equipment.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we just try to again here discuss all the basic element, whatever you highlight here. Okay. There are standard notation, what is their function in the electrical circuit. Okay. So just try to discuss one by one and their notation. And have you seen any voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, some maybe seen and some student may not be seen. Okay, so how we can connect ammeter, voltmeter, wattmeter in a circuit? So
सर एमीटर को सीरीज में
that
वोल्टमीटर को
is
पैरेलल
Ammeter in series and voltmeter in.
okay. So these are the basic concept you have to concern whenever you connect the ammeter, voltmeter, and wattmeter in a particular circuit. Okay. So just try to discuss here one by one. Okay. So just here. First element is your resistance. Inductor, capacitor, voltmeter. All of you mention all these point, I think. Okay. Wattmeter, transformer, motor, and auto transformer. So किसी भी electrical experiment में we are able to find the combination of this one. Okay. And suppose that we are going to perform any experiment on the motor. Okay. So we required motor, we required ammeter, voltmeter, wattmeter for the measurement of voltage, current, and power. You know, when you concern about any experiment on the transformer, so you require transformer. Just try to see all these things. So I think all of you familiar with the resistor, inductor, and capacitor. Not. Are you familiar with the resistor, inductors, and capacitor? And in the theory class also, we started from this point, the resistor, inductor, and capacitor. So in theory class, we already explained that what is the resistor and what is the unit of resistor, I think. Okay. And how we can represent the resistor. So fixed resistor have resistance that only change slightly with the temperature and time or operating voltage. So variable resistance can be used to adjust circuit elements such as volume control or a lamp dimmer, or as the sensing device for heat, light, and humidity force. So these are the functions for we can use the resistor. Are common element of electrical network and electronic circuit and are in the electronic equipment. Practical resistor as discrete component can be composed of various compound forms. So resistor are also implemented within integrated circuit. The electrical function of resistor is specified by its resistance. Okay. Common commercial resistor are manufactured over a range of more than 9 order of magnitude. So how we can represent the resistor? Standard notation. Okay. So this is the notation of the resistor, and required to continue. If the time out for this session, you requested to rejoin on the same link. Okay, for one more period.
Okay, sir.
So I think this is the symbol for the resistor. You maybe find there this one for fixed resistance, and this all these are for the variable resistor. Okay, so this type of any notation you may be used in the circuit diagram. Okay, either maybe this notation or this notation. Among all these, anyone you can use. Okay, so this is the physical rheostat. Okay, you may
Yes,
find
sir.
out. Have you seen the physical rheostat?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think
Yes, sir.
all of
Yes,
you
sir.
familiar with their terminal. Just tell me.
No,
If you
sir.
want to connect a
Yes,
resistance at the maximum position and minimum position, so how you can connect that one? Suppose that this resistor terminal has A and B, okay, and this one is your moving point, touching point, okay. So if you want to this resistor at the maximum resistance value, so slide point at which point we have to keep, and for minimum resistance. Anyone? Is it clearly visible terminal of the rheostat?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So at which position we can say that the maximum resistance, and at which position the rheostat we can use for the minimum position?
सर टर्मिनल ए पे मैक्सिमम होगा और शायद टर्मिनल बी पे मिनिमम.
Maximum at terminal B or minimum?
No, sir. She's saying maximum at terminal A.
minimum B.
Tell me which one is correct.
आप बताइए
We
सर.
are just guessing, sir. I have not watched.
Just guessing. So you may be in that these two terminal A and B, and this one is your moving point, is not? So suppose that
Yes, sir.
if you want to connect this rheostat in a circuit at the minimum resistance position, is not? Minimum resistance position. So one point is your input. Okay. Suppose that this is your this one is your input, or rather maybe connected at input at this point, and this is your total resistance value A to B at point A to B. Okay, and this one is your slide wire. Okay, so if you keep slide wire at this point, that means suppose that how much resistance value? If I started from this point, okay, so resistance value up to this, okay, from C to A at if you A consider as the output terminal, that means this resistance value in your circuit is not. If this slide wire keep at this position, so what is the resistance value? Minimum, is it not? And if the slide wire placed at this position, okay, that means total resistance are connected in your circuit. Okay, so this is the connection of the rheostat in a circuit. Either you may be connected any particular resistance value, or maybe a minimum or maximum. Okay. कनेक्शन इसका कर सकते हैं ना हम लोग?
यस सर समझे.
Yes, sir.
रियोस्टेट का यूज कहाँ पे करते हैं हम लोग?
जहाँ वेरिएबल रेजिस्टेंस का हम लोग को वैल्यू को वैरी करना रहता है.
वेरिएबल रेजिस्टेंस क्यों यूज करते हैं हम लोग? जहाँ यूज करना होता है क्यों यूज करते हैं? रेजिस्टेंस सेट करने से क्या हो जाएगा?
करंट का वैल्यू निकालेंगे, वोल्टेज को फिक्स रख के अगर रेजिस्टेंस को वैरी
करंट का वैल्यू
करेंगे.
एक्चुअली करंट को यदि कंट्रोल करना चाह रहे हैं, इफ यू वांट टू change the current value, then we have to insert resistance in that particular circuit. Okay, so if resistance is increases, so current is obviously decreases. So you may be use this rheostat. Okay, if you want to control the current value. Is it clear?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one is your inductor. Okay. So I think all of you familiar with the inductor. What is the function of inductor? Just
सर एनर्जी स्टोर करता है.
energy store करता है. Any coil in magnetic field, if you energize, then energy store. Okay. So if inductor can be used as a coil. Okay. So that coil you may find out their application in either transformer and motor. Okay. If coil energized, then EMF will be induced if the flux changing take place in another coil. Okay. So this is all about the function of inductor. That means also called as a choke or coil or winding. Okay. So energy can be stored in the magnetic field and EMF will be induced due to the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction. So that EMF will be always opposed the gauge. That means current flow in that particular coil and EMF induced direction are in opposite direction. Okay, according to the Lenz's law. So I think all of you familiar with the basic function. And what is the unit of inductor? What is the unit of inductor? Henry. Is not Henry. Okay. So you have to keep all the unit. Either you may be represented micro Henry or milli Henry, whatever you may be. So that you may be convert. So basic unit is a Henry. Okay. And next basic element is your capacitor. Or physical maybe segment or representation of the inductor. So maybe this is the circuit element representation for the inductor, and physically you may be seen that coil may be owned in a core. Okay, either in a transformer or you may find out in motor. Okay, so this is known as actually inductor. Winding is owned on a particular core. Okay, and next one is your capacitor. So what is the function of capacitor?
So to store energy.
It stores energy.
What is the mathematical equation of energy stored in the capacitor?
half CV square.
Half CV square. And for the inductor?
सर नहीं पता भूल गए.
नहीं आ रहा. 1/2 Li square. Okay. So you have to give all the basic information about the inductor and capacitor. Okay. And I think a standard notation for the capacitor, and what is the unit for the capacitor?
Farad.
Farad.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so maybe either
Microfarad.
represent in microfarad and millifarad. Okay, so this is the
Yes, sir.
notation for the capacitor, and you may find out seen in the physically capacitor shape in this type. Okay, you may find out in the laboratory also.
Fans.
Yeah, and physically you may find out in your home fan.